Hello, welcome to Airing Out. I'm Josh.
And I'm Jonas.
And this is Jerry. And today we're going to be talking about The Mandalorian.
The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Disney's brand new, not so new anymore, but
just finished airing 17 months ago in America.
Wow.
And today in...
17 months?
Okay, not quite. A long time ago.
It
feels like a long time ago that we watched it. Yet Jerry's got his clone mask on. We couldn't find his Jango Fett.
He's the enemy.
So we figured the clones are clones of Jango who wore Mandalorian armor.
Yeah.
So it's kind of on topic.
It's kind of there.
He's trying.
He's making the effort.
He's making a big effort today.
Definitely.
So.
Well done, Jerry.
Well done, Jerry. Well done, Jerry.
You know, he's finally part of the episode again.
Yes. Yeah. It's been a while. But no, the sun's back out. We watched all episodes yesterday.
Could that be finally it's okay to say sun's out, guns out, because we're talking about laser blasters?
Laser blasters. You heard it here first.
Blasters? Blaster guns?
Okay.
Guns?
Blaster? Yeah.
Blaster?
Not laser blaster.
No, but it's blaster.
That's a bit like Star
Trek.
Blasters. Yeah, sure. But no, we watched the first two episodes again when they first aired in the UK. And then we waited until they were all out and watched them all last night.
Because, first of all, this is absolutely a bingey show.
Oh, for sure.
No way should you watch this, like, one episode a week or something silly like
especially
that.
Like this, especially The Worst Offender. So we're going to spoilers the whole way.
Yeah.
So if you've not seen it,
they are out now.
Watch it online illegally or pay for Disney Plus.
Don't do that, but
it's all on Disney Plus, so you can do it in your 3-month trial.
I don't know.
Don't pay for Disney Plus.
True.
Take the free trial.
That's true.
Watch it all in a day and cancel it.
You can't say watch it illegally, but it's also you can't really.
I mean, technically, Disney dodged so much taxes anyway that by watching it there, you're basically supporting a legal corporation. So, you could argue that there's no way to watch it legally.
But, like, as a film production company...
I can't encourage people to watch something legally.
Yeah,
I know, there is that
with
thing, but also take the free trial, watch all of them.
Oh, yeah.
Because as a film production company, Disney make a lot more than us.
That's true.
So...
That's true. Disney, we want some of that.
Yeah, I think if they asked us to make a film, I'd be okay with that.
I'd be okay with that.
I'd be okay making that.
We can be the improved...
yeah, if they want to pay us off as well to talk positively about them, I'm happy to sell out.
And since D&D failed, J&J will be the next.
J&J
will be the next.
Well, J.J. Abrams failed already. So.
Yeah, but he's JJ. We're
J and J. That'd be totally different. And D&D is of course Game of Thrones, which they cut early to make their Star Wars trilogy. That got cancelled because they cut Game of Thrones early. Whew.
Cut.
Madness. So,
right.
Yes, I think The Worst Offender is the prison episode that is so very isolated.
What's that, 4? No, 5.
6?
Yeah. I don't know, I mean...
I think it's 6.
As in like a series, it's obviously like a space western. That is what they set out to do.
Yeah.
So you do have a lot of elements of like western films and like cowboy...
Yeah, I think the most western one is definitely where they go to the isolated village and defend it from the ATST, and go away at the end, and you're like, "Cool,
okay,
great." It was very western, but I think that's fine. I think
some of the music as well.
Yeah, the music's good. The music's really good.
The music's good.
I think I obviously like Star Wars, although a lot less recently. But if I isolate the first 6 films
for the past 4 years or so,
I like them up to Rogue One.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. After that,
but I mean, I was still excited to have this show because
and also
this
is
like
the time period
new and different.
Yeah, this is the time period that you want explored right after the second Death Star blows up. You know, it's like, okay, there is a gap there.
Yeah.
Before Episode 7, what's going on? This whole, the New Republic. I'm like, okay, cool. And I think in terms of fleshing that out, that's how I go into this. And I'm like, okay, cool. So like the prison thing, I'm like, okay, it's cool to see how the New Republic's operating with their prison ships. And in a way, it was nice to see that in Rogue One as well, when Jyn Erso... This is how unmemorable the characters are. But she gets arrested and you see like the Imperial prisons. And I'm like, that's a cool wee insight, or even Solo to a slightly lesser extent, but you see, okay, the Imperials, how they actually fight. Like, they're not in white armor all the time. They get the mud troopers. And you kind of get more of an expansion into the universe and how it actually operates.
Yeah.
Rather than this one contained story that the films are. And I think from that angle, it works. And from a kind of paying homage to westerns and sci-fi horror, it works.
Yeah.
As a story, it's struggling.
Yeah. No, but that's why it's like, it's fine because it's also just one episode that is only like a short amount of time, and then you move on, and it's like, that is done,
that is
and you can
we should talk about,
over it. And
the episodes are short.
Yeah, they feel very short.
They're like, I mean, some of them are almost 20 minutes.
Yeah.
20 to 40 minutes.
Well, yeah, so they're not all one length. You have the last episode is like an hour.
Yeah,
close.
Just about.
Yeah. So they're definitely very, which is good. I would support that because it means you can take the amount of time that you need to take for whatever you're trying to do. So good, but some of them are just very short, and then
especially,
it's like,
it's surprising that they haven't done that
then?
lately, because obviously with films on Netflix and stuff, or shows on Netflix, you're not airing, so the whole reason stuff had to be a time is to fit in a time slot in TV.
Yeah.
No one watches TV anymore, so you can just make it as long as you want. So
yeah,
it's surprising this is one of the first shows, I think, to really do that, because even like when Game of Thrones had long special episodes, it was like, whoa, it's an hour and a half, and you're like,
okay.
So yeah, I think it's interesting that this is one of the first shows to do it, and I think they do use it. I do think some of them are too short.
Yeah.
Especially because there's only 8 episodes. And, 10 and you have 2 kind of throwaway ones, fine, but 8 and 2 throwaways is a bit. And I'd argue there's 3 throwaway episodes. The second episode, the speeder bike chase on Tatooine, one where they're going after the bounty hunter there, and the prison escape. I think all could be completely cut, and I don't think much would change.
Nothing would change.
Nothing would change.
There's
no character development. Our main hero is the same.
No, I think it's only in the second episode that I'm still saying episode.
So German.
So it's so German. Yeah, it is. Episode. It's in the second episode that you first see Baby Yoda's force powers.
Yes.
So if you would cut that out, you would still not miss it because it obviously comes in at a different point. But like, it has to come in at the very beginning, I think.
It's a nice way to do it. But that was definitely the episode that a lot of people felt were like, this is very video gamey. Like, he's going on a side mission to get some new gear. Right, going after MacGuffins.
He doesn't even get new gear from that.
No, well, he gets his shit back.
He gets his shit back, yeah.
Yeah, it felt very MacGuffin-y.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Which is like when you're going after like a thing. So like, all of episode 9, they're going after the Sith Wayfinder. MacGuffin.
Yeah. No, and it's also then it also feels like the conflict. So why the character's going after this one thing seems forced, because like, okay, if this conflict didn't happen, nothing would change. So the conflict only happened for the sake of happening and extending the time of the show that's running.
Yeah, which I think they could have easily done more. Like, I don't think they were limited by time. They could have added 2 episodes easily, I think, and they would have been fine.
Oh, also in terms of plot, like, there's definitely some things that could have been developed. But that being said, I also think it's very good how they just cut out all of, like, there are definitely some times, like, when they are in the village.
We've been here 2 weeks.
2-week time jump.
Like, no, but so good we didn't get that episode.
Yeah. When I first saw it, I was like, thank you for this little piece of exposition. It is perfect.
Yeah.
Because, like, I don't care to see them just spend 2 weeks there, or, like, waste another episode of them just, like, him having some thoughts about, should I remain a mercenary in Mandalorian, or should I maybe
settle down? And he's like, no, I want to kill things.
Yeah, cool. If that's not where he's going, then
don't spend time there.
Yeah,
I think that's actually interesting, because the prison episode, where it's kind of, they talk about, they used to be together on a crew. We didn't have to see that. You can tell they don't like each other, but definitely worked together before, and there's the people that are coming since then.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't need that. Whereas I think, compare that to The Witcher, which came out in America at the same time anyway, not in Britain, Disney. Whereas a lot of the TV show there is taking, like, singular lines of backstory from the book and being like, here's an episode about that, and you're like, we don't need this. So it's interesting, the two different approaches, and I think both work. Like we could have had an episode being like a flashback to when the Mandalorian served with the prisoners, and then the up to date. I don't think would have added anything, and they were able to tell it really quickly. Yeah. Rather than like having this whole.
Yeah. No, so it's funny that there is that split though between sometimes they do get it right, but then other times they just spend the entire episode doing something that is.
Yeah, just. Nothing,
yeah. I don't know. But I don't know. It's a very pretty show.
Yeah, so the way it was shot, about 90% of it was shot on this giant, almost 360-degree TV, essentially.
I actually want to see what that looks like. I want to see pictures.
Have you not seen it?
No.
Okay, I'll show you after we film.
Because like
I'll post a link in the description below of their filming thing. So basically what they do, because the Mandalorian wears very reflective armor.
Yeah,
and this was a problem on filming Star Wars Episode 2, because that was the first one where they committed to C-3PO being shiny. And that was filmed primarily on blue screen, which meant that he was very blue. And you could also see the cameraman in C-3PO and stuff, so that was a whole lot of CGI, and actually very groundbreaking CGI at the time of getting his reflections all right, and good for them. 2002, very impressive, especially after watching Resident Evil, which came out at the same time. And it's like, okay, you can really start to admire the prequel CG after watching films that come out at the same time. You're like, okay, it's not perfect, but whew.
So much better than everything else.
Yeah. But the Mandalorian wears chrome armor, and obviously they don't have the budget on these TV shows for huge amounts of CG. So what they have is this giant TV that wraps around, and they obviously everything's storyboarded to within an inch of its life, and they pre-make all the backgrounds in computer software. And then that means that the lighting is perfect because it is what's there, and all the reflections are good as well. I mean, obviously you still need to get rid of the camera if that's still on it. Yeah. But otherwise, his helmet reflection will just be what's on the screen.
Yeah, because it is the actual surrounding.
Exactly. Yeah. And it also will help the actors as well, so not acting off a green screen.
Oh my lord!
You can look out in the landscape. And as they move, the landscape will move.
That is honestly one of the most difficult things to do. Is like, you look there, and then you'll have a taped X or cross, like it's a different shade of green. Yeah, it's not really a different shade of green. It's just like you can see that it is different because it is taped, and that is where I don't know. That's where the enemy is coming from, and you're like, intense looking at this green cross.
I do laugh. There's a great in the making of the Two Towers. Maybe Return of the King. It's Return of the King, where they've got Boromir giving a speech.
Yes.
In Osgiliath after he's taken it back.
Yeah.
And there's this great thing with Sean Bean. He's like, I really hope they put a lot of guys there. Because he's obviously just shouting at a green screen. He's like, I hope there's a lot, because I shouted like there'd be a couple thousand men, and if there's like 10, I'm going to look like a right idiot. You can just imagine him giving this like rousing speech to like two people like, well done.
That would be so bad. It's like, please.
Please. Look at the CG guy like, come on.
I stand here before you. It's just like the four hobbits. Like
it's just Faramir like, yeah?
I'm listening.
I can hear you. Oh, no. But no, I think Mandalorian, I also really like the way it's shot. Or like the color grading, I guess. Like it's very gritty.
That definitely sounded like...
It sounded like a fart. I can recreate it.
It was the chair.
This chair
you cannot
also...
recreate
I can't... No! This chair is really bad. So this is the chair I usually sit in. But
yes.
Jonas gets...
Because I deserve the throne.
He deserves the throne. It's not because you're small. But this chair has no backing, so I'm always like lying down in our videos. But it's just there's no support. So that's
you should get like a pillow so you sit more upright.
Or you could just get a proper chair that fits you.
Well, maybe.
This maybe one's not too big for you technically.
It is, yeah. So this chair comes in different sizes for height and weight class, and I'm definitely in both classes.
You're too light and too small
for this.
Admittedly, I'm slightly too light for that chair as well.
Yeah, because you're skinny.
Skinny boy.
Skinny boy.
No. But no, the aesthetic of Mandalorian I really like. And so it's kind of gritty, and I think it fits that time period of Star Wars pretty well. You know, like the stormtroopers are all a bit like they're muddy, and you know you can tell they've been for a bit, and they're not getting refreshed by the Empire because they don't exist.
Yeah,
that whole aesthetic, and of course because they're filming off something that is there, everything feels quite real. Which is nice about having to actually make sets.
Well, in terms of gritty, it's not like you get a 2002 like gritty.
Oh no, I don't mean the
picture,
actual
but
picture
it's
quality,
like,
but the world.
It's like because it is Western and you have a lot of dusty lava, but also
all the planets are covered in dust they go to.
Yeah, and that's really cool. That totally makes sense.
Yeah,
like it's ice storms, but it's always something like flying about in the air.
Yeah.
Which works really nicely with like having something to look at, and also obviously if you have particles flying in the air, that is always super nice for lighting because light will catch it.
It catches it, yeah. And I think that's something that the original trilogy did really well in terms of it was a lived-in universe, which no other kind of sci-fi thing had at the time.
Yeah.
It was only just after that it kind of really started that. Everything else was very clean. And I think the prequel trilogy was very clean, but that made sense because they were in the Republic, and you know that was at the height of everything being nice.
Yeah.
And then I think the Disney films, like, they got the practical effects right, but everything just felt a bit new still again. I think it didn't quite have that, like, lived-in feel, which I think Mandalorian's grabbed. I think that actually, watching the making of Episode 9, and they've got this ship that no one's been in for 20 years, and they've covered it with more cobwebs than Shelob's lair, and it's like, oh, the ship hasn't flown for 20 years. You're like, that's not that long. Like, you know, they go into the Millennium Falcon after that, and it's like fine. I think actually that's the perfect thing. Millennium Falcon in the original trilogy versus how it looks in Solo.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, like, yes, it's set before, it's going to be cleaner, but there's a difference between clean and perfect.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like
just out of the wrapping.
It just hasn't been used. So I think Mandalorian's got a much more of a lived-in feel to it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Which is nice.
That's nice.
They get it good.
Absolutely.
No, they do well.
Good stuff, guys.
Good stuff. I think, speaking of lighting in deserts, though, in the Episode 9 making as well.
Yeah.
This is great. So they filmed the desert scene in where there's, like, the big parade and the bike chase.
It's like Sundance Festival.
Yeah, literally. But they filmed it in Jordan, but on a green screen, so that they got the right lighting.
Because they wanted desert lighting.
That was it. They couldn't simulate it in their studios. They flew everyone out to Jordan to film against a green screen outside. Not in the Jordan desert, which is there.
I don't understand that.
And then Disney are so hungry for money that they release Mandalorian weekly.
I just don't understand that.
Their priorities are all over the place.
Because, like, obviously, lights can imitate sunlighting. Like, that's the whole point of having artificial lighting.
Like, nothing's quite like it. And, like, props to them for that, but also, where is your priorities?
Like, if there's actually a difference, then sure, they're going that extra mile, but
the problem is that
I don't think there is.
They should have taken that money, put it towards the writers to actually write a good film.
Pay your writers.
You know? And then film it.
And pay for good writers.
Get rid of him. That film is awful.
Oh, no.
It is one of those things, but, like, it's such a mismanagement of money.
Yeah.
That it's just bizarre. It feels like they have just gone, if we throw money at Star Wars, we'll get a return.
Yeah.
Rather than actually thinking about how to spend time and money.
That's a shame.
Because
like, if you do look at The Mandalorian, I'm like, oh, we have a glaring sun in the background.
Yeah.
Which must be
it's
a
fake.
TV screen.
Of course, it's a TV screen. Yeah.
But that's amazing, because that's not even like a studio light.
The TV's bright.
Yeah, but like,
it's not a
12 kilowatt or whatever.
No, for sure.
Huge.
It's not a key light. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think considering how much they nail it, and the guys that make it are obviously very, very passionate, and all the directors that were part of it, obviously know their stuff.
Yeah.
So I think props to them for that. So there's the two showrunners that do it. One of them is taking over as the Lucasfilm lead. Yeah, replacing Kathleen Kennedy's.
Yes.
Stepping down voluntarily.
That's always such a nice thing to be like. You were like just 2 weeks from being fired.
Yeah, you know, well done. But no, so one of them's taken over there, and I think the passion that they've shown for it.
I mean, just doing a show like that, when it's like, there were just enough fan service moments, but really it was a standalone thing. Mm-hmm. So it means they're just doing it for doing something.
And even some of the fan service they have really makes sense. So they've got Moff Gideon, who at the end has the Darksaber. We're going full spoilers here. We did warn you. But that makes sense because we've already covered in a previous episode that he was there at the sacking of Mandalore.
Yes.
And we know from the cartoons, if you watch them, that Mandalore was run by Darth Maul, who used the Darksaber. So it makes sense.
So
the way Mandalore worked was the best warrior would rule. So Darth Maul came in as an outsider and fought the head of Mandalore, and won. So since then he controlled. There was the whole in battle. There's episodes about
that. Was like Black Panther.
Yeah. No, for sure.
King can be challenged anytime.
Yeah. I wonder where they got it from. Which came out first?
Archaic.
Yes. It makes sense if Moff Gideon was the person that took over Mandalore from the Empire, that he would have it. And if you have followed the cartoons, you go, oh, cool, that makes sense, and it's cool to see it in live action. And if you haven't, you go, cool, a black lightsaber.
Yeah.
You know, it's a win-win. I think it's a little bit coy having IG-11 and whatever his name is, the Mandalorian.
Yes.
Are basically IG-88 and Boba Fett.
Yeah.
They're identical.
Yeah.
And I'm like, considering how little backstory we got from Boba Fett and Tamara Morrison, the guy who played Django and by extension Boba, you know, they're clones.
Yeah.
Age-wise, it would line up, and it's like, you could have. You know, there's no character development for Boba other than he's cool. It would have been really, really cool, I think, to start The Mandalorian with Boba Fett crawling out the Sarlacc pit and then taking off. I'm like, I would have been down for that.
Yeah.
I would have been so...
Or even, there was a moment when it's like a flashback to how the Mandalorian became part of the Mandalorian cult.
Yeah.
And so it was like was it the Republic? No, the Empire. Like, who was attacking?
The Confederate.
The Confederate, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, the droids in episode 1, 2, and 3.
Yes, so they were attacking whatever town...
Planet he was on.
He was on. And the Mandalorian stepped in to save him and take him in as a foundling.
Yeah, so a baby Mandalorian.
A baby Mandalorian. And you said, like, oh, that would be really cool if this kid...
Yeah, he just got saved by some random...
Was, like, hiding in a hole, and then, obviously, it's the thing of, like, ooh, you're opening...
Who's getting saved? I'm like, it would have been cool just to have a wee, like, if you're not going to make the main character Boba, just have him there. Because there was a thing before Disney bought it in the expanded universe, it was kind of accepted that Django wasn't a Mandalorian, and that he killed one and stole his armor, and by extension, Boba wasn't. But Disney, through their comics, have retconned that because that's what Disney do. So officially they are Mandalorians. So there's some universe insight for you. I might be wrong there. I don't think I am, but if I am, leave it below. But that's my understanding of it so far. It's all a bit all over the place since Disney bought it because everyone's kind of fighting for that was the other thing that making Darth Maul the main villain in the main villain in Solo was stupid because we know Han Solo cannot interact with a Force user because he doesn't believe in the Force in Episode 4.
Yes.
So it just can't be.
Yeah.
So you either make that Darth Maul kind of 3 films that follow a similar plot thread, that trilogy, instead of following just Han Solo, or you've introduced Darth Maul because you can and it's stupid, and you're like always are just escaping around the main villain. That seems still too. Yeah,
how can your main character and your main villain never
meet?
That's no.
It doesn't really work. So that I feel like it was a misstep. But then also Mandalorian, they've got the Mandalorians who were ruled by Darth Maul, who is definitely a Force user.
Yes.
And they've had lots of interaction with that, and they're like, oh, there's this secret wizard cult thing called Jedi that you might have heard of. I'm like, it was only 22 years ago that the Republic and the Jedi High Council ruled everything. Like, everyone knows what Jedi are.
I have heard stories, and you are.
It's in your lifetime.
It is. Yeah, it's
like the droids that were attacking him. That when he was saved by the Mandalorians were the ones fighting the clone army that was commanded by Jedi generals. Like, it shouldn't be this mystical thing. I feel like they want to go these two different directions, and they've kind of messed it up a little bit. Like, do you have these Jedi as these mystical warriors that you've only heard stories of, or do you have them controlling the galaxy?
Yeah.
You can't have both.
No, or they would have to explain it more like where we are in the universe is far away, so like they've never really gotten into contact with them, like until...
I mean, presumably it's all set in like the Outer Rim, so like far out, but even so... the giant war that was probably definitely very well documented.
Especially for like the Mandalorians not to know, because they have been ruled by Force users. That should be
very recently, a couple decades ago.
That should be known. Yeah, that's a bit of a weird one.
Stuff like that definitely
just
makes
have a longer time gap, but then you're not in between.
You're running into episode 7, and you're not having Imperials anymore. I think it'd be nice to see more of the power struggle between the kind of Empire warlords. I think that's quite an interesting dynamic. Like, okay, the Emperor is dead. Who's coming to power? Well, he's dead.
He's dead now.
He's dead now. But like this whole like, okay, Moff Gideon, who is he taking power? Like, where is the Empire at? Because they need to fall apart for the First Order to come in. And I do want to see that transition.
That would be actually very cool. So you have multiple bad guys struggling to be the baddest guy, and the Mandalorian like being in between that.
And it would be really cool if we saw, I don't think they'll do it, but I would be very down to see it, would be to have Snoke or Domhnall Gleeson
introduced, or
I don't know the character's name. Gingerby.
Oh yes. That
whatever
guy.
His name is. But the two guys that are in charge of the First Order...
I can't take it.
Well, he was serious in Episode 7. They made him a joke in Episode 8, then had to kill him in Episode 9 because he was a joke in Episode 8.
Yeah.
Well done, Rian Johnson. So I think it'd be really cool to see one of them introduced as taking over.
Yeah, that would make so much sense.
So that we can actually see that process.
Yeah.
Because obviously there's only 3 people in charge of the First Order that we're aware of. At least in Episode 7 time. There's the old guy that's introduced in 9 to replace Domhnall Gleeson, so... but we know Kylo Ren's backstory.
Yeah.
But it'd be cool to see, okay, does Snoke come in and appoint his generals? But where is he coming from? How is he getting power? Or is Domhnall Gleeson's character Imperial militarist who's come in and kind of wang some stuff?
Outdoes the others, yeah.
So I'd be down to see that process happen. I think that's an actually interesting blank left in the world that can be filled.
That is true. Yeah, I mean, it's also like the position of the Mandalorian is exactly that during a time where we don't know what is going on, so why not make the show about that?
What's going on?
I understand that maybe for the first season they just wanted to set up the Mandalorian as a character, and then they can go and show him and doing different things and like expand his world, and not dive in with like...
Oh yeah, I think especially seeing the prequels, if you start bringing in politics, that'd be a huge misstep.
I think so, yeah.
But in terms of where the show goes, I'll be disappointed if they don't go that way.
Or if it's... I mean, they don't have to like dive deep into it, but just have...
Just show it. Little snippets.
Yeah, little snippets. Like he ends up encountering them. So you know, like...
Or even
it's going on in
names. You know, you're like, cool. You know, or just have Moff Gideon on the phone to Snoke, like... Yeah, sure.
On the phone.
Yeah. Boop. Like, how you doing? Oh, once I got to take a call. But no, I think showing that other stuff is happening other than this one very contained story that we're getting.
Yeah.
I'd definitely be down for.
Oh, yeah. That could be exciting.
But no, I think...
And it's nothing better than bad guys fighting each other.
Exactly. Well, is the Mandalorian a bad guy?
No, he wouldn't be the bad guy.
No, but he could. He's grey.
Ooh, he's...
Morally grey.
Morally.
And armor.
Yeah. No, but I think it's interesting for him to like be morally gray, but also very set. You know, he follows his set of rules, except for when he takes Baby Yoda.
Yes, which
does not follow the code.
So it's interesting that a lot of people have a problem with Rey's force powers.
Yes.
But not with Baby Yoda's.
Yes.
I was wondering if you do.
Well, you're talking about like
powerful.
Force healing.
Yeah. So Rey is super powered.
Yeah.
For no explicable reason other than she's the granddaughter of Palpatine, which is a lazy excuse at best.
And superpower is because she can do things without having been
trained or taught or anything. She's got the Force lightning. She can Force heal, all that stuff.
Yes.
And Baby Yoda is similarly powered,
uh-huh,
but without any training and stuff. And people didn't seem to have a problem with Baby Yoda, but did have a problem with Rey. Now, the argument that Disney lovers, or not, I don't know, new generation Star Wars lovers come out with is because everyone has a problem with a strong female lead, and they're stuck in the past and can't accept someone else taking over the franchise. It's not how I'd go about it, but I'm interested to know if you have a problem with it before I reveal my reasoning.
Your reasoning. I have to say I didn't have a problem with Baby Yoda and his powers. I also have to say I don't have an issue with Rey and her powers. Where the issue lies for me, and I think that's also why I don't have an issue with Rey's powers per se, is the continuation of what is set as like a rule of that world, and where I, not having been like a huge fan of the first two trilogies until like I didn't watch them when I was a kid and stuff, so I'm pretty late to it. But to me, like the rules of the first two trilogies aren't as set, and that's why like Rey breaking many of those rules isn't like a big deal. And same goes for Baby Yoda as a series that is like separate from the film franchise.
Right.
I feel they can allow themselves to do different things. But obviously I think that's also the problem that you have with Rey. It's like we've established rules where Jedis have to go through years of training.
To the point where like they don't train Anakin because he is too old.
Yes. And the pinnacle is you get your lightsaber because you can then use it properly, and then you have a character that basically reverses that. She comes in as being
an adult,
too old.
Yeah.
Can wield a lightsaber immediately,
no
and even Finn, who has arguably no powers. Maybe he does. I don't know. Is hinted at. No, but like he can as well, and he's like. I don't know. It's weird. Like, sure, you have your reasoning. It's a sword, and if you know how to use a sword, then
sure.
I don't know.
Think,
but it didn't strike me as like they're doing something that should never be possible. It's just like, okay, so if this is possible, why did we never see it beforehand? Yeah.
So there's stuff that I think. So in regards to Rey and Baby Yoda, for me, the way I think of it is. We know of 3 of Yoda's species.
Yeah.
There is Yaddle, everyone's favourite, who is on the Jedi Council in Episode 1.
Yeah.
Doesn't say a word, and we never hear from her again. Okay? There's Yoda, who everyone knows.
Yeah.
And Baby Yoda, who is meant to be like, what, 50, 60?
50, yeah.
And it is said, in Mandalorian, their species seems to have a certain affinity with the Force.
Yes.
I'm willing to accept that. You know, the Disney, Lucasfilm, no one has ever named that species. Everyone seems perplexed by it. Like, it's definitely not a common species.
Yeah.
If a species at all, who knows?
Maybe it's like the Sith that there's always only 2 or 3.
So Yaddle died to create Baby Yoda.
Or maybe
you heard it here first.
Yaddle and Yoda did the nasty.
And so like spiders, so Yoda ate Yaddle after giving birth.
Twist.
You heard it here first.
Disney, we figured you out.
We know what's going on. But no, so definitely, and presumably the whole reason they want Baby Yoda. So the guy with the funky glasses has the cloning insignia on his arm from Kamino. So he's presumably trying to extract the Force powers from, or the midichlorians, from Baby Yoda to give him to a clone of the Emperor would be my guess, because we know the Emperor has to survive through cloning. So that would be the presumption there. So I'm okay with that, because that's that species set. Whereas Rey is human. Yeah. There is no passage from blood in terms of Force powers. That's not how the Force works. Silly. And is doing things that shouldn't be possible. In terms of Force healing, is obviously the way they justified it was like, oh, it's been a thing in video games for years, and you're like, it's just a very convenient way for people to heal in video games. Like Force heal, it's like, okay, cool. It's like having a Bacta tank. Sure, you know, does it just magically heal you? How does it work? We don't need to discuss it.
It's like, oh, I'm gonna
just, you know,
shove
oh, just Force heal, and then you've got more health in a game. That's very helpful for a game point of view. But obviously, the thing that the pinnacle of it that really annoys me is when Rey kills Kylo Ren by stabbing him through the gut, and then it's like, oh no, I've changed my mind, and heals him, right? And I'm like, but we just watched Qui-Gon Jinn die in the exact same way. And that's a Force power that's actually useful. So like, why are none of the Jedi capable of doing it when the Jedi are at the peak of their power? You know, no one's ever done that before. And they're pulling it out. Whereas Kylo Ren, like, freezing one bolt in midair, I have no problem with, because you know what? That doesn't actually make sense in any of the situations we've seen so far. Because, like, if you're in the middle of a war zone, like the Jedi are in the prequels, freezing a couple bolts in midair is doing nothing. You know, you're way better off deflecting them. And we see Darth Vader just, like, take hits to the hand because he's like, yeah, I can. What are you going to do? You know? So there's specifically some Force blocking going on there. So there's no situation where you're like, yeah, no, I would want to freeze a bolt in midair, you know? That's fine. Force healing and this whole, like, Force dyad...
It changes the game so much. Because you have so many deaths that are just like, okay, but why did they have to die? Because they didn't have to die in the earlier films.
No.
Because they could have been saved. Yeah, I mean, the whole thing of Anakin... wanting to save
Padme. It's like, oh, you can do it. That's fine.
You can easily do it.
That's no problem. You just go, and transfer some life force. Like, it's not a huge skill.
You don't have to go to the dark side.
Because Palpatine does this whole thing where he's like, you know...
Some consider unnatural.
Yeah, the dark side is pathway to many abilities. And you're like, okay, cool. Like, that's how you learn that. And then she's just like, no, I can do it. No problem. You don't even need to be, like, super angry, emotional, which is Star Wars' whole shtick, you know? If, like, anger leads to the dark side, but it's like, can you control your emotions? That's what Luke goes through for 3 films. And then it's like, oh no, you can, whoop, and they're fine. And then Rey gets healed, but so Rey dies. Kylo Ren's like, don't worry, whoop. And then Rey comes back, and then he disappears, and you're like, well,
yeah, I don't know.
How does this work? You know, that's it's its own problem in its own place. But stuff like that, when you're rewriting rules, it's different to add a couple new Force abilities, but to completely rejig the game is where the problem stems from, and that's why I don't think Yoda should be able to Force heal, Baby Yoda. But definitely have the Force, no problem. And whereas Rey Force lightning spaceships out the sky is a little bit suspect.
And I mean, it's also with Baby Yoda, he's 50 years old, so he might be a child, but you don't know what happened before, so he could have had some basic training.
And also, it physically tires him. Like, every time he uses the Force, he's out for the rest of the episode, usually. He's passed out. Whereas, the whole using a lightsaber without using it, I mean, the choreography's awful anyway, but it's insane to think that Kylo Ren would be beaten by someone that... I mean, they're just waving it about like a stick. Oh!
No, I don't know. I agree why Force healing should not be a thing, because changes so many things, makes so many things like easy or not worth, you know. Then you lower the stakes
100%,
because no one is as afraid of dying anymore.
Well, it's like that thing where Mandalorian is like, oh, I'm dying, you have to leave me, and IG-11's like, back to spray, you're fine, and you're like, that was
so weird.
Again, very video gamey, but also IG-11 dies immediately after that. So I'm like, okay, thank God that's not a thing. But also, if that spray is so useful, carry some on your belt. Like, just have a wee like, psh, psh, I'm fine.
Yeah, you don't have to take off your helmet. You just go like, psh, psh. Or you could have like a vent in your helmet where you just go.
It's just constantly spraying in case you take it.
No, there were some decisions in that last. I mean, there were definitely some decisions throughout the.
I think the writing was a bit cheesy. I think it didn't evolve from old school Western enough, so it felt very 60s, 70s Western at points. Like, maybe we should just settle down here, and you're like, yeah, the town's peaceful, and you're like, okay.
That was like I mean, there are definitely some issues that I have with how they ended the season. I mean, yeah, that's like the spray, obviously something like that, and then the droid dying right away is like, did he have to die?
Yeah, can you not take out and throw the thermal detonator?
And for the Mandalorian to be like, oh, you shouldn't sacrifice yourself, and he's like, he hates droids throughout the entire season for no given reason.
No, it's because as a kid, the droids murdered his entire family.
Oh, okay. I understand that.
Yeah, but his attachment to IG-11 instantly was a little bit quick, and I mean, he's Taika Waititi. I'd be sad to lose Taika Waititi.
That's true.
But
okay. Yeah. For him
Did you not pick up on that? Okay.
Well, I don't know if it's like for him to project it on
every droid ever.
Every droid and only droids.
Well, yeah.
Is okay, but I understand that. I am totally on board with that because that's how psychology definitely works.
For sure.
But then to have this complete turnaround for very little reason, or it's just underdeveloped.
He's very upset that IG-11 dies.
Yeah, would sacrifice himself.
Oh no!
I'm like, that is just we don't. He doesn't have the bonding time with IG-11.
No, he's only just come back.
Yeah, so that's a bit of a weird one. Then IG-11 blows himself up and kills all the... Tactically very smart that they're all very close by.
Yes.
No one is like somewhat further away, like a commander or of some sort.
Well, the commander's in a TIE fighter. Just having a wee whiz around. Having a great time.
All of that's kind of weird. No, so they're all taken out, and so our heroes are finally free. And then they have this weird conversation of like, oh, we've just basically killed every single bad guy, and everyone else in town is dead.
Yeah, Navarro's safe now. Let's live here.
So let's just live here, the three of us, the four of us. And you're like, I was like, no. Since when is this something that any of them want to do?
I mean, fair enough. Mandalorian takes Baby Yoda and goes, and he's like, no. But the fact that the other two are like, yeah, no, this is great.
And 2 hours beforehand, they were hating each other.
They were trying to kill each other. So
weird development. Like, I think that's a point where you would come in with at least one more episode and be like, just okay,
time span.
Yeah, we need to have them end up in these places, but that's for an episode to decide how, and not for one scene with some dialogue out of the blue.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, that was a bit
rushed. I think, especially because there is those episodes where the Mandalorian is just doing his Mandalorian thing. They could have used that to, at least with like IG-11, have some time together, or the Rebel drop trooper. So just have some time, character bonding, get to know each other a bit better. Yeah. So maybe there is that like, oh no, I'm enjoying spending time together, and then like, oh, one of them wants to stay, one of them wants to go. You know.
Yeah, I don't know. You could cut it off while they were still in like the bar, some kind of cliffhanger of like, ooh, they're in a pickle, then pick it up the next episode, how they escape, and then like an actual epilogue.
Oh, there's plenty of
it cooling down and stuff. I think that would have worked for sure. But no, I think overall it's some of the best Star Wars content that's come out. Yeah.
It feels very Star Wars-y.
Yeah.
All the so I think it's kind of cool that they didn't have enough Stormtrooper uniforms.
Yeah,
which
that's a cool story.
Is mad. Disney, how are you spending your money? Just buy like 100. Why wouldn't you?
No, and also just make them. They're plastic.
You can sell them for a fortune. Imagine if there was like screen accurate.
Yeah. Like
Lucasfilm approved Stormtrooper outfit.
Yeah.
You know, because to make your own online, no, I know this of course. It's like $5,000. I've not done the shopping there. But you have to like get all the pieces and make them and find like, you know, a black thing. Whereas if they just went like, you know, small, medium, large, extra large, buy your trooper outfit.
Your belly.
It is perfect, you know? Like, you could make a fortune. How much? If you mass produce that, you'll make a killing. And not like a kid's toy. Like, if you make it a collector's piece, you could sell it for a ton.
Yeah.
But no, they didn't have enough. So they asked, it's the 501st Legion, are like an official cosplayer group of stormtroopers and clones and all stuff. So they asked them, they usually go to like Comic-Con and Gamescom and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they came in with their own outfits and filled in as stormtroopers for the show, which is awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, so I don't know if it was maybe a very conscious decision of should we produce them ourselves or should we do like a proper fan service of getting these people
getting fans in the show.
Getting fans in the show. I think that might have been just as smart of a decision that isn't money led, which I totally respect. Like,
I think it is just literally the top of the stack at Disney. Are money hungry, and the people actually making
is also
it
their job.
Love it. I know, but I definitely think there is a passion there. I think really shown in Mandalorian. There's a passion for Star Wars in the world, which is nice to see.
I do have a question though about the cult of the Mandalorians in the show, because they do live underground in the sewers, and apparently only one of them
goes up at once. I think you'd spot them pretty quickly. Be like, there's at least 20 different Mandalorians in this town. Only one at a time, though.
See, that's what I was wondering. Like, is it only one Mandalorian that is allowed up ever until he dies, and then the next one gets to go?
In terms of, there's a lot of weird rules that they have that have presumably come in. So, like, in the cartoons and, I mean, heck, the films, we see plenty of Mandalorians with their helmets off. So that's presumably just a rule that got introduced after the sacking of Mandalore, when the Imperials came and it's like, okay, no, we need to keep our identity secret. So he's like, I've not heard my name spoken in ages. So presumably his name is secret. They're underground. They're trying to survive. So presumably that's when those rules came in. Never confirmed. But obviously, like, we see a ton of Mandalorians with their helmets off, especially in the cartoons. That's just they walk around with them off. And also in,
I guess it's like, who gets to see your face?
No, in like the Disney cartoon that they're currently making, Rebels, is terrible. Like Clone Wars is great from like just in, like, even as an adult cartoon, it deals with some really good themes. Whereas Rebels is just for kids, and it's like you have the opportunity to do so much more with this. You know, appeal to both audiences, but no. So their current Mandalorian they've got on that is her helmet's off all the time. All the time. So. Yeah, they've ruined that one. So presumably it's something that happens after the second Mandalore. So they have to be underground. The whole...
Well, that also makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. It's a little bit of an assumption, you know? Like, you're just kind of assuming things. Yeah. But that's okay.
But fair, because it's like, I wouldn't want the series to, like, sit the audience down and like, explain
these are the rules.
You know, that would be a bit boring. For sure.
For sure.
Like, to be like, Mandalorian doesn't take off his helmet. Yes, we got that, and that's cool. That's a thing.
I think they should have cut away when they did reveal Pedro Pascal's face. Yes. I thought it would have been a really nice artistic choice.
Yes. Yes.
They get his helmet taken off to get some
I don't know if that's a thing of, like, them wanting to prove that they actually got him.
It's him! Look, it's Oberyn!
And not just, like, we kind of engineered his voice, even, or something like... It's like, no, it is him.
We own the rights to your voice, you are mine.
No, but I think it would have been nicer for that not to be seen. And then you could have also just, like, cut out the whole spraying thing and just,
you just
left
wouldn't
it as,
have
like,
known. He's fine.
Yeah,
he's
the
better.
droid did something.
He limps out. And
he's a nursing droid now. He somehow fixed him up.
Rather than psh, you're fine.
Yeah,
I don't know. It could have been handled better.
And I also definitely have a question of, like, the Mandalorian leader, the Viking Mandalorian.
Sure, with the Zabrak horns.
Whoever she is. How did every Mandalorian in the sewers die and she did not?
I think what it's meant to be is they've started killing some Mandalorians after the big attack.
And
they've fled and given up. So they've taken off their helmets and been like, no, I don't want to die. That's what sense. I took away from it. But again, assume.
That would make way more sense.
Yeah, that's what I kind of thought. Was like, no, I can't do this anymore. But
yes,
that's what I took.
Okay. Because that would be strange, man. That would be like, where was she hiding? What kind of leader is she to be the last one surviving,
just chilling, like,
you know?
So this is fun. No, that's what I took away from it. The other Mandalorians gave up their kind of Mandalorian thing. So they're never allowed to put their helmets back on.
No, because that would also explain why...
There was a big armor pile?
No, the armor... No, but like why the troopers weren't in the sewers already, like knowing that that's where they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that makes a lot more sense.
So I presume like a couple of them died, or like a number, maybe 10.
Yeah.
Up top, and then they were like, okay, no,
this is not our fight.
A couple escaped, then they were like, yeah, no, we're done.
Fair.
That would be my takeaway.
So we will maybe see more ex-Mandalorians in the future?
Maybe,
or are they just like... I don't know, to me this was a lot like... He's the last, not Jedi, but last Mandalorian.
I hope they don't go that route. Because, like, it was a planet.
Yeah.
You know, like a planet full of warriors. And it is like, yeah, cult that other members of species, you know, can join. But definitely is a thing.
Yeah.
So, I hope they don't go that route. But, yeah. I don't know.
I mean, he's definitely, like, he's got his own two-man... What's it? What did she say? Clan.
Yeah, the Mudhorn
clan. The Mudhorn clan.
I was waiting for it to like brand Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
No, I think...
Give him like a tiny helmet.
Yeah. With little ear holes. Oh, that'd be so dumb. But considering
what's under the helmet?
Everyone seems to know what Mandalorians are.
Yeah.
And, like, they're the greatest warriors ever. And then everyone's like, Jedi? No, magical warrior people. Seems like nothing, you know, nonsense to me. Then you're like, well... One of them ruled the galaxy, and the other one has been fighting a war for the last 30 years.
Yeah.
You know, and living underground. It's like, okay, the fact that everyone knows about one and not the other is bizarre. So things like that, and like definitely there should be more than just one.
I mean, the fact if you look at it in terms of historiography, which is a word that describes in the way in which history is written, since the Jedi lost.
They just won, though. They just blew up the second Death Star. After a big lightsaber battle. See, it made sense in 4 for Han Solo to be like, eh. And also, the Empire ruled for such a short amount of time that it doesn't really work. It's like 20 odd years.
Yeah, there's no way to be like, okay, we just erased this from the memory by burning.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we ruled for 100 years. You'd be like, yeah, sure, don't believe it. But like, oh, the Jedi Temple's burning down. You're like, the what? Never heard of that word before.
No, the ashes are still in the air. The ashes of what? Yeah, that's
like, the what now?
Okay. So the troopers are actually men in black. Get it? And the blowing up of the Death Star. Yeah. So
what troopers?
No, like I don't know, not the stormtroopers, but the
rebel
one that are just like in full black.
Oh, the Death Troopers.
Yeah, Death Troopers are men in black.
Yeah.
And the blowing up of the Death Star was actually like a men in black amnesia thing.
Or it's the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them Forget Me Rain.
Yeah.
That kind of works, but kind of doesn't, because he's still making cookies in the shape of all the beasts.
I don't remember that.
I remember that.
I might have just deleted.
You got flashed.
Yeah.
I was like, where are you going with that?
But how cool would that be? Star Wars Man in Black crossover.
I mean, it is in the same world.
It would totally make sense. Yeah.
It's a galaxy far, far away, a long time ago.
Yeah.
That's fine. We could get Will Smith. Crossover confirmed.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
Guys, make it happen.
But no, I think overall, show did well.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Good Star Wars stuff. I think on par with maybe Rogue One. Definitely some of the best new generation Star Wars stuff.
I was just like nude. I didn't.
Nude.
New generation.
Nudity. New generation Star Wars. So
yeah.
Post Disney.
Oh yeah, I mean, I definitely would suggest watching it. Recommend.
If you haven't seen it, I'm sorry we ruined it. What you gonna do?
I'm also the kind of person like I'm okay with spoilers.
Yeah, no,
like
for sure. That is interesting. So apparently you enjoy something more if you've had it spoiled. Like, so they've done tests and like they'll tell people what happens at the end. And other people they
because
won't.
You're waiting for it to happen.
Yeah, just like the anticipation. I think it means you can pay more attention to the story beats.
Mm-hmm.
But in saying that, everyone disregards that because you can only experience the first time you watch something once. And you can always have, so if you enjoy, so say watching Dark Knight, if you knew exactly how it ended, you have that experience every time you watch it. Whereas that first time of not knowing, is that you can only have that experience once. Even if it's not as good an experience, you can only have it once.
Yes.
You know, I don't know why I went with Dark Knight there, but that's any film ever. That was the one in my head. But yeah.
Because that's such a plot twist.
Yeah.
No.
Well, Two-Face.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey. Yeah. If you didn't see that
but
coming.
definitely watch it if you haven't. Make sure that you can watch it all in one go, because that's definitely what I would suggest.
Oh yeah, in terms of week to week, it's slow.
Yeah.
Very slow. So we did wait for it all to come out before watching it.
Yes.
But yeah.
It doesn't take too much time either.
Well, like what? 3 hours even? Not even.
Yeah.
3-4 hours. It's not long at all.
Not long.
It's really short. Cool.
But that's our take on it.
Yeah, that's what we think. We'll have Terminator up next. Luckily my PC's back up and running, so we'll be able to make videos again.
Awesome. But yeah, if you enjoyed this content about Star Wars, because we haven't been ranting about it finally.
Yeah, we talk a lot about Star Wars, but you know, it's fine. It's fine.
No,
but no,
this was more positive.
This was more positive. We only talked about episode 9 for a little snippet.
That's true. And if you have positive vibes, give it a thumbs up, this video.
If you didn't like it, leave a dislike, I guess.
Yeah.
If you have to.
No, that's fair. We need some feedback.
We need some
your
feedback. But don't dislike, just leave us a like and then a comment on what we can do better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really helps.
That'd be even better.
And obviously subscribe and hit that big bad bell icon.
Yes.
So you get notification when we post videos every single day.
Every single day.
Wow. Cool.
I'm actually quite happy that we can say that.
Yeah, no,
that's a cool thing to say.
It's really impressive.
We post every single day.
Wow. Cool. Right. Bye.